Island that toppled over near Lethabo Power Station were cut. Eskom Group Chief Executive André de Ruyter says it is the clearest evidence yet of an orchestrated campaign to sabotage Eskom. He says, however, the motive remains unclear. Adil Nchabeleng is an energy expert. He joins us now. Very good evening to you, Adil, and thank you so much for speaking to us. So I'd like to hear your thoughts about these reports and the possible motive. Have you managed to wrap your head around these reports?
We have done our hands around this report. What we still actually discovered is there's a bigger problem at Eskom. And as we can see, the situation is exacerbated by the fact that even power station security is not in place. And remembering that this power station, according to law, are key points. So it's quite concerning, very, very concerning to see that we even have our key points being sabotaged in South Africa. It shows you that really there is a massive, really rundown of Eskom in terms of its assets, its ability to manage its power stations, and not only that, the ability of the power stations to keep on running and operationally efficiently. So, this is really highly alarming. We accept the fact that there is a problem happening right now at Eskom and that there is security loss, but at the same time, this is a national key point. We should not be experiencing this level of sabotage, this level of criminality literally happening right now, whereby people have access to those stations and they can go in willy-nilly and do that kind of a job of cutting down, metal pylons with whatever equipment is utilized, and nobody understands anything and nobody sees what's happening. So it's quite alarming and extremely worrisome. So we would say not only that, to say to the public of South Africa that, we can't allow our power stations, which are national assets, to be taken advantage of. And we call on anyone who really is perpetuating this level of criminality. And we say that the South African military, because this is a key point, including the South African police, must really take this matter seriously.
Okay, so we'll get into the bigger picture in just a moment, but I just want to focus on this particular incident. Mr. de Ruyter saying there were 6 hours of coal left inside the bunkers at Lethabo, meaning that the country came dangerously close to even stage 6 load shedding. But I'm wondering, what is the policy around coal stockpiles and reserves?
Look, the policy around coal stockpiles is simple. Eskom is supposed to have availability of coal for at least a few days to ensure that there is continuity of service and operation. Even if it is brought in through the conveyor belt situation, the mines already have a schedule whereby they must have coal availability. But when Eskom itself is having situations whereby the security is actually questionable, whatever supply you have, you can have coal on the ground. But if you don't have the actually security in terms of your equipment working efficiently, what is the use of all of that? And that's what we're actually experiencing, that there are bigger problems within Eskom than just the power itself,
So let's go back to that. What you raised, that there's a bigger problem. You'd recall the reports from Eskom of employees being reportedly charged along with a supplier in the theft of spares at Tutuga. It also spoke of oil theft. Just how wide is this sabotage or a scheme to disrupt energy supply in South Africa, and who could be behind it? I mean, I know it is conjecture at this point, but is there evidence to support that there could be a more sinister plot at play?
Absolutely. There is a more sinister plot at play, even though we can't put our hand and really, fingers to it as to who's behind this current foul play of ensuring that our power stations are not operating effectively. There is a definite level of sabotage happening, and there are people that are actually quite interested in seeing the collapse and actually the failure of Eskom. Whether it is done with really benevolent interest or malevolent interest, right now all we see is that there is a massive level of breakdown of management of our key assets. And at this rate, if we continue seeing this kind of sabotage happening, whereby, this is not the first. Remember, last year alone, we've seen a lot of units burning down. We've seen a lot of conveyor belts breaking down. Now we are seeing even a power station pylon. To really work on a pylon of that nature and do that kind of a work, it takes a lot of effort. It's not small little thing. and it's done by experts. So somebody somewhere within the value chain understands what they're doing, and they're doing it very, very viciously to ensure that Eskom does not ever have the capacity to operate as a public utility and does not ever have the capacity to stand up alone and be able to produce electricity which we need. So it is actually an economic as well as a national sabotage, and to ensure that Eskom collapses, fails, and it can be sold off.
How much is it helping the fact that you have the Mineral Resources and Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe laying the blame for our power shortages squarely at Eskom's feet, claiming the utilities toing and froing over the Kapowership contract and other winning bids for emergency power procurement? De Ruyter himself saying that they can't sign agreements that they haven't seen. What are your thoughts around this spat, and how is it contributing to how bad the situation is becoming?
Look, it's quite surprising that, an award can be made and the parties that are supposed to be coming on board to sign are actually in conflict, because these are the issues that should have already been ironed out before the award is actually provided. In this case, Eskom and Department of Mineral Resources, including IPP's office, by now they should have been sitting down and agreeing on what needs to be done. If currently a gas procurement agreement has been done and the signature, which is supposed to be the power purchase agreement by Eskom, has not been provided, and from what I heard, they did an interview André de Ruyter about the signing off on the power purchase which came from Car Power. And he blatantly said, no, he's not going to sign. So it shows you that there is no cohesion in terms of one plan within the current energy program. The minister is doing one thing. You have on the other side the CEO going against the minister, going against the plan that has already been implemented. Remember, the RMIPP is actually a plan which was already instigated to make sure that it can reduce load shedding. So when Eskom CEO does not want to sign, it shows you that there is a deliberate, clear intention to either undermine the energy policy or again go against certain companies that they feel they don't want to support. In this case, it will be probably the Car Power, which they feel that does not deserve to get this contract, and as a result, they are going to not sign the agreement of Car Power.
We're going to leave it there. But thank you so much, Adil Nchabeleng. He's an energy expert. Thank you for your time. And a reminder that after 6, we will be taking live a panel discussion with the Eskom CEO, André de Ruyter. It's part of the Ahmed Kathrada dialogue series, Fix It. It'll be focusing on how to fix up Eskom after state capture.